heaven I fly. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, sugar at summertime. Be my little sugar. Sugar time, sugar time, sugar time.
Oh, thank you, darlings. Hello there, and welcome once again to the Glittery Bunker. I'm your host, Victoria Sautee, and it's so nice to see you, dearies. It's Valentine's Day. That's right, it is Valentine's Day, and we've got a lovely show for you, and who knows, you might even learn stuff.
If you're stuck inside and you need some fun, she's the grande dame of getting it done. With Victoria Sautee.
That's right, darling, it's Valentine's Day, and I'm your stupid Cupid, your love bug who'll get you if you don't watch out, your love machine who won't work for nobody but you, your Venus, your fire, your pure desire, your mighty Aphrodite, and I also speak of the pompatus of love. Darling, that's me, Victoria Sautee. Raise a glass, I have some Prosecco here. Now, I know some of you are pro-secco and some of you are anti-secco, but I'm pro, and I'd like to put, because it's a holiday, a little strawberry in there. It's merry, it's genuine. It'll make you fall in love as it's made me fall in love with you. Let me drink it. Delicious. Now, as I mentioned, it's Karen Valentine's Day. No, it's not. It's just plain old Valentine's Day. And have we got a show for you today? We do have some lovely things to talk about. A guest, some new prizes. That's right, you swag getters with your match games. I've got something new for you to win, but we're going to start with our word of the day, and the word of the day is sacchariferous. Sacchariferous. Let's break that one down, shall we? Sacchariferous. That's right, sacchariferous. It means it yields or contains sugar, and you know me, I both yield and contain sugar. I do. It's an English word from the 1750s, and I'll use it in a sentence because I always do, don't I, darling? The candy I ate was sacchariferous. It's ridiculous, darling. Now, I'm going to talk a little more about Valentine's Day in just a moment. But before we do, we're going to have ourselves a little calendar whirl. That's right, it's a calendar whirl because it's a new time of the month. Now, I want to tell you about some other holidays besides Valentine's Day that are quite important. Okay, that's enough for you. You're out, darling, and it's time to talk about the other holidays in the month. Well, we all know that this month is Black History Month. That's right. It's a celebration of the achievements of African Americans and a time to realize their central role in American history. And not only do we salute them, we also salute canned food. That's right. It is National Canned Food Month, darling. Now, did you know that during the French Revolution, a gentleman named Napoleon was the first person who wanted to preserve foods, and he offered a reward if someone could come up with a way to keep food. And that gentleman was Nicolas Appé. Nicolas Appé, it looks like Nicolas Appé needs a toupee there, but he was the man, and he invented the process of sort of canning, or as we know, it's of sealing foods in a glass bottle, bringing them to temperature, and then letting them be consumed later. That's right, that was Nicholas's idea. What a lovely man he was. Now, besides the canned food, we also pay homage this month to the cherry. That's right, darling. It's a National Cherry Month. It's a celebration of the cherry industry, which began in Michigan in 1852, where all the trees were planted. And we've chosen February as a month to recognize the cherry because it was in February 1912 that the Japanese gave us a gift of thousands, actually 3,000 cherry trees, which now sit in Washington, D.C. And we're ever so thankful for cherry blossom time. Now, coming up tomorrow is a very special holiday we don't want to forget. It's Susan B. Anthony Day. That's right, Susan B. Anthony. It's also her birthday tomorrow, so if you see her, be sure to send her a greeting or a slice of cake. She played a leading role in women's suffrage and was a vigorous opponent of slavery. She's also the first woman to ever have her image on a coin, and there she is, first produced in 1979. Susan B. Anthony. Celebrate her tomorrow, darlings. Now, coming up on the 18th, it's National Battery Day, February 18th. The battery was invented by an Italian scientist, Alessandro Volta. Isn't that interesting? Volta. Now, it's a day to think about how many batteries you go through during a year, and maybe it's a day to change your batteries if your battery-operated devices are not quite up to par. Battery Day is the day to do it, darling. Now, coming up on February 20th, it's a very special day. I don't know if you celebrate it or not. I do here in the bunker. It's National Hootie Who Day. That's right, it's Hootie Who Day. And this is a day when you go outside at the stroke of noon, that's right, noontime, and you wave your hands over your head and you shout, Hootie Who, Hootie Who. And what this does, and it's a proven fact, is it makes winter go away quicker. Watch this demonstration.
Hootie Who, 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 Hootie Who.
That's what you do. It was invented in the 1980s by Thomas Roy. Now, that was not him in the clip, but that's what you do if you want winter to go away much quicker than it does. It looks like it's going to stick around. I think we all need to Hootie Who now, don't we, darlings? Now, then, coming up on February 22nd, it's coming up. It's right around the corner, darlings. It's Be Humble Day. That's right, Be Humble Day. Now, this is a day where we don't want to brag and we don't want to boast, but we must remember that whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. That's right, darlings. Now, coming up then on February 23rd, it's National Dog Biscuit Day. And I guess that's a day to give your dog a biscuit. Or someone else's dog a biscuit. You could give anyone a biscuit. Let's celebrate the biscuit for dogs. Now, on February 24th, a very, very big holiday. You should all celebrate National Tortilla Chip Day. That's right. Now, when we think of tortilla chips, we always go to nachos, don't we? Well, did you know that the nacho was invented on this date in 1943 by Ignacio Aña, a Mexican gentleman whose nickname was Nacho, from his name Ignacio. Do you see it there? Yes. And he decided one day he would just throw some cheese on some freshly fried tortilla chips, and he served them. And the patron said, "What do you call these?" And he said, "Well, I guess I'll call them nachos after myself." And isn't that wonderful? So celebrate on National Tortilla Chip Day. Now then, on February 26th, it's National Tell a Fairy Tale Day. And to help us tell a fairy tale, we have our very special guest, Mr. Dazzle. Where are you, Mr. Dazzle?
Hello.
Now, Mr. Dazzle. Well, what do you have to say about National Fairy Tale Day?
I love fairy tales, and I love National Fairy Tale Day, and I have prepared a fairy tale for you that maybe you haven't heard of. Because I love the obscure. So I have a tale from Russia, actually, which is pretty famous over there, but not as well known here. It's called the tale of Tsarevich Ivan, the Grey Wolf, and the Firebird. So let me dig in. Let me see how quickly I can do this. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a Tsar, which is like the guy who's in charge of all the kings in Russia. And he had 3 sons. He also had an apple tree, which grew golden apples one night. He was thrilled. However, a thief would come and steal the apples. So he decided to tell his 3 sons to sit under it all night and find out who the thief was. His oldest 2 sons were super lazy, so they fell asleep almost instantly. But his youngest, Ivan, stayed awake because he was a good boy. He discovered that a large golden bird called the Firebird was swooping down and stealing the apples. He couldn't catch the bird, but he grabbed its feather and showed it to the Tsar. And the Tsar said, "Forget the apples, I want that bird." So he tells the 3 sons, "If you can find this bird, I'll give you half my kingdom." So they grab their horses and off they go. They come to a path that splits into 3, and a stone says, if you take the left path, you will die of hunger and cold. If you take the middle path, you will live, but your horse will die. And if you take the path on the right, you will die, but your horse will live. So the first two brothers, yeah, it's not a win-win. So the first 2 brothers are super lazy. They sit down because they're like, I can't do this. Ivan chooses the middle path. And almost instantly, an enormous gray wolf shows up and eats his horse. However, he is undaunted. He wants to continue on, and the wolf sees his determination and says, tell you what, hop on my back. I know the way to the Firebird. He takes him to a garden by a king's castle, and in the garden is the Firebird in a cage. He says, grab the bird, but don't touch the cage. But Ivan thinks to himself, well, what's a bird without a cage? So he touches the cage. Alarms go off, guards show up, and the king of the castle appears and says, why are you taking my bird? He says, I was going to give it to the Tsar. And the king says, well, you should have said that. I totally would have given it to you. But now that you've disobeyed, you have to go to a neighboring kingdom and get me the horse with the golden mane. The wolf says, I know the way. So off they go to this next castle. They come to the stable, and they find the horse. The wolf says, take the horse, but don't touch the golden bridle. But Ivan thinks, what's a horse without a bridle? So he touches it. Alarms go off. The guards show up. The king of this castle appears and says, why are you taking my horse? Ivan says, I wanted to give it to a guy for a bird to give to the Tsar. And the king says, you should have done that. Just ask me. I totally would have given it to you. But now that you've disobeyed, you have to go to another castle and get me Princess Helen the Beautiful. The wolf says, I know the way. And off they go. They find Helen the Beautiful, tell her a king wants to marry her, and she says, all right, I guess I could do that. But on the way back to the king, Ivan and Helen fall in love. The wolf takes pity on them and says, okay, look, I'll use my transformation magic. I will become Helen the Beautiful, and you can trade me to the king for the horse. That way you get the horse, and you get to keep Helen. So they say, great idea. They trade the wolf for the horse, take it to the next castle. The wolf catches up with them and goes, wait, I have another idea. I'm going to transform into the horse with the gold mane. You trade me for the Firebird. You get to keep the bird, the horse, and Helen, and you can stay together, and I'll catch up with you later. So Ivan says, great idea. They do this. It works out great. They're on their way back to the Tsar, and who do they come across? His brothers, who are still sitting there on the ground. They see him with all the stuff that they want, and they go, kill him. So they cut him into 100 pieces. And they take Helen, they take the bird, they take the horse, they bring them to the Tsar. He gives the oldest son half the kingdom. He gives the second son Helen to marry, and she is not into it. However, the wolf comes back and finds Ivan's body and goes, I will use my magic. He calls upon the crows of the field and says, bring me the water of death and the water of life. For the water of death will bring his body back together, but the water of life will restore his spirit. He does this. Ivan is brought back from the dead. He jumps on the wolf, races to the Tsar's palace to stop his brother's sham wedding. The king realizes he's been lied to by his lazy older sons, turns them into servants. He gives Ivan half the kingdom, the horse with the golden mane. Helen agrees to marry him, and the Tsar gets to keep the Firebird. And they all live happily ever after.
Well, that's wonderful. That was like the war. That was like the war and peace of fairy tales, Mr.
But you know what? The Russians are pretty wordy with their tales, but I do love that everything happens 3 times in it.
Of course, I have my eye on the role of Helen in the movie version of this. I think I'd make a lovely Helen.
You know, Helen the Beautiful suits you, I think.
I think so too. That's why I picked that role for me. Which role will you play, Mr. Dazzle?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, anyone would love to be Ivan, but honestly, the Grey Wolf is pretty darn cool.
Good
He's
role.
got transformation magic. He talks to crows. He eats horses, I guess. I don't.
Well, thank you so much for a lovely, unexpected fairy tale.
Hey,
I expect you all out there to tell that fairy tale come the 26th of the month and tell a fairy tale day. Happy Valentine's Day to you, Mr. Dazzle.
Happy Valentine's Day, Victoria. Bye, everybody.
Oh, that was lovely. Now, I do have one more holiday to let you know about. It's National Tooth Fairy Day, which is the last day of the month. Now, in the 1920s, when this little drawing was sketched, fairies were used to teach children all sorts of things. You want your child to eat their vegetables, you'd say, well, the fairy said. Well, the fairy wants you. The fairy. Well, in fact, they actually had a toothbrush in the 1920s called a fairy wand. And then finally, in 1927, the dental board at the time put out a brochure called Tooth Fairy, which was 8 pages instructing children how to brush their teeth, instructed by a fairy. That's right. Not a lovely story? Well, it's Tooth Fairy Day, and did you know the average parent gifts their child, or shall I say, the average tooth fairy gifts their child $5 for tooth. I think maybe I'll pull some teeth out after that. Well, finally, darling, it's Valentine's Day, and happy Valentine's to each and every one of you. I see there's lots of you out there, and I send kisses, love, and chocolates to each and every one of you. Now, did you know that Valentine's Day, or Saint Valentine's Day, or the Feast of Saint Valentine's comes around every year on February 14th? Originally, it was a Christian feast honoring 2 martyrs named Saint Valentine's, of course. Now, it's not only recognized as a religious holiday now, but it's a day for us all to celebrate love and romance. Now, our first religious icon is his Saint Valentine of Rome, who is said to have been able to restore blindness. And in particular, he restored the blind daughter of a man in jail. And he wrote, after he restored her blindness, "Your Valentine." And that's where the expression and the trading of Valentines begins. According to this legend, anyway, it is also said that Saint Valentine of Rome performed marriages for people who were forbidden to marry. Oh no! Now, not to be confused with Saint Valentine of Tournai, who, as you can see there in the picture, was a bishop. And that's all we know about him, unfortunately. The celebration of Valentine started in the year 496, and along the way, as time passed, it became more and more associated with love. In 18th century England, it grew into a celebration where people presented little gifts like cards or sweets or treats. It was so popular, and people started mailing these cards, which at the time was quite a hefty fee for postage back in those days. But also in England, they have a character called Jack Valentine, and there he is there in the picture, and he shows up on your doorstep while you're sleeping and leaves you a little sweet or a little treat. Jack Valentine, he's sort of like the Valentine Santa, is he not? Now, also, speaking of sweet treats, I want to show you a little clip. It's kind of a favorite of mine, and I just want to share it with you. I love sweet treats, and here's one now.
See what I got my mother for Valentine's Day? What is it? It's a love bug. Doing. It's cute. Yeah, and when you open it up, it's filled with dozens of Tootsie Roll midgies. That's great. Mother's like Tootsie Rolls. And when she's finished all her Tootsie Rolls, she can use it as a wall decoration. Or collect them and make a mobile. Hey, there's only one Tootsie Roll left for your mother. Don't worry. I think she's giving me a love bug for Valentine's Day, too.
12 different love bugs filled with Tootsie Rolls. Now at stores.
Weird. It's just weird, isn't it? I've always thought Tootsie Rolls were a little weird, didn't you? Something about them was odd, but nevertheless, they are sacchariferous, aren't they? Now, I always loved those sweet little treats and candies, the ones that come in the fancy box. Well, did you know that little fancy box, the little heart-shaped box, was invented by this gentleman here? That's Richard Cadbury. That's right. In 1868, he decided to put his chocolates in a box shaped like a Valentine. Now, there was over 36 million of those now are sold each year, and they come in all sorts of lovely shapes. Here's the classic one. I like that one. I wouldn't mind getting that one for Valentine's Day. This one has lots of lace. It almost looks like a little doll from a bird's eye view, doesn't it? Or for a sexy doll, here's the black lace. Here's the black lace. Sexy box of Valentine's candy. Here's one in turquoise, which is quite fetching. I would take that, or this little blue box, which is lovely, but has a little note of sadness. It does somehow that looks sad to me. I don't want that one. That gray ruffle around the edge just doesn't do it for me. But it's not as sad as this Valentine, which just reminds me of a funeral for some reason. It's like the Valentines box you've given to someone who's passed on. Here's a cute one. This is from Brock's. It's the Wink and Kiss chocolates. And as it says clearly on the box, give me your heart. Or as Jane would say it, give me your heart. Just demanding, isn't it, that Brock's Wink and Kiss or else? Now, here's a cute one, too. This is another little Brock's treat. This is very sweet. I like this one. Now, some people take these boxes, and once they finish eating the candy, they're left with that little empty thing with all those little cups there. Well, you can repurpose that, darling, as this person did, and they use it to put their little jewelry in. Isn't that cute? I like that idea. You could also use it as sort of like a pill thing and just label them Monday, Tuesday. You can put anything in those little boxes that your mind is put to. Here's another take on the Valentines heart. Valentines are full of peas for a vegetarian. Or if you're not a vegetarian, you may like this heart-shaped steak. I like a nice heart shape. What cow does that come from? I wonder out loud. Or maybe you don't like chocolates at all and you just want to give your sweet some flowers. Well, then you could have these meat flowers. That's right. Those are little steaks made up into roses. Imagine what they smell like after a day. I wonder. Still, I have to tell you, my very favorite one is the Russell Stover's candy. And, I've got one right here because this is my favorite. I love picking through them. They don't give you the little chart anymore. So you don't know what you're going to eat, but you bite into them and you might get the cherry or just you might get the caramel. You might get the dark chocolate fudge. You might get the one you spit out. It's okay. That's what you're supposed to do with them, darling. You are. Now, Russell Stover, that's Russell, and he's born in 1888 in Kansas, and that's him with his wife Clara, who was instrumental in the candy business. They started out as farmers, and they decided to buy a candy business from a friend in 1918, and then the friend was trying to pitch them the idea of taking some ice cream, coating it in chocolate, and they said, well, that might be a good idea. Maybe we'll do that. And those two invented Eskimo pie. They ran away with their friend's idea, and he had a very successful business selling Eskimo pie. Later, once that got off the ground, they started what was called the Candy Bungalow. That's right. This was Mrs. Stouffer's bungalow. That's what it looked like, if you were wondering. And they sold boxes of chocolates all around the country. And finally, they grew to a worldwide business with the boxes of chocolates that we all know and love that look just like that, and they're good for any holiday. Isn't that lovely? Now, the business has since been sold to Lindt. Lindt owns Russell Stover. They are the third largest chocolatier in the country. Now, if all this sweet has you gagging and it's too sacchariferous for you, I have another idea for a Valentine. Let's watch.
Lovely card.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Roses too.
There's more.
My favorite color.
Matches your eyes.
I know your tricks. You're leading up to
Absolutely.
something.
The power of Scope, especially on Valentine's Day. And this year, Scope will give you a free Valentine's card. For full details, look for the special Scope display in participating stores and show your love with the power.
That might be someone's idea for a Valentine, but don't give me Scope for Valentine's Day, darling. Don't give it to me. I don't want Scope. What I want is a Valentine card. I love cards. I love printed cards. I love how expensive they are anymore. We all owe this to a woman named Esther Howland, who in 1847 in Worcester, Massachusetts, started Valentine cards in this country. Her father had a large book stationery store, and she was inspired by seeing those English Valentines, and she said, well, look, let's put some on. And that's how it all got started, thanks to Esther. She's lovely hairdo too. Her top notch is lovely. It really is. Now, the teachers are the #1 recipient of Valentines, followed by children, and then mothers, and then wives, and then girlfriends. Now these days, you just can't have Valentine's cards. You have to deal with everybody. Everyone wants their own little thing. So now we have Happy Galentines, and this is for gals who just like to hang out and drink some prosecco at times. That's what it's for. Or two women who are not in love with a man right now or another woman right now, they have Galentines. Valentine's Day is not good enough for them. They have Galentine's Day. And not to be outdone, the gentlemen have Palentine's Day. That's for two pals, and we all know what that means, darling, don't we? But if we're going to get this specific, well, why don't we have a time for everything? I suggest Valentine's Day for two people who are sick but still love each other, or sick of loving each other Happy Valentine's Day, you sickie. Now, I love the old Valentine cards. I really, really do. Let's have a look at some of them here. I have some that I've selected for you. Some of my favorites, the old Valentines from the 1940s. Here's one here. Oh, look at that. It says she's panhandling for your love. Do you see? She's a pan with a face. Yes, frightening, isn't it? So here's this lovely one. It's cute. Look at that little egg. It says, it's no yoke, Valentine. I'll egg on you until you're mine. Cute. It's cute. I love the little illustration. Look at how lovely that egg looks. And oh, here's this one here. Another egg joke here. Don't be so hard-boiled. Oh, come out of your shell, Valentine. Very cute. Very, very snappy. Oh my goodness. I'm axing you to be my Valentine. That's for Lizzie Borden there. Here's an unusual one here. I'll never be false to you, Valentine. Sweet. Now here's one here. What's this one here? Oh yes, this says, like mustard on a weenie, I'll go good with you. Now this one really took me. It did, and it got me to look. And the further I delved, the more hot dogs I found on Valentine's Day. Look at this one, hot dog. You're my Valentine. Or this one, hot dog. I'd relish having a Valentine like you, said the dog to the cat. This one, look at this. To be quite frank about it, I want you for my Valentine, and that's no baloney. And the baloney is heart-shaped. It is. Here's this one here. Oh, look at him. Gosh, Valentine, don't you like me a weenie bit? And of course, this is my all-time favorite, hot dog. You add spice to my life. Look at that Dick and that Jane in that card there. Look at them. They both of them love that hot dog. They do. They love it, and I love hot dogs too. And now we're gonna either we're gonna get crafty or we're going to be in the kitchen. I'm really not sure what this exercise is, darling, but we're gonna do it anyway because I have some Valentines for you that are edible and they're crafty and they're as cute as can be. Now all you're going to need is some hot dogs, and I have one right here. Do you see it? That is a hot dog. Now if Emma and Michael out there, they're probably smiling right now. But what I've done is I've sliced my hot dog with a knife. I'm not going to show you what that looks like, and I slice it right down the middle, almost all the way. So you open it up. Do you see that there? Can you see me in the hot dog? There it is. So you take the hot dog, and then what you're going to do is you're going to turn the hot dog around like can you? My hands are in the way, like so. And then I've got a little toothpick here. And, oh dear. So there it is. It's a little Valentine hot dog. Now what you can do with this is eat it. Or you could put this in a fry pan or a little saute pan and then throw an egg right in the middle of that little heart and serve that to your lovey for brunch. Or dinner. Hot dogs for dinner. They go really well together. Now I've taken another hot dog and I've cut off the ends on an angle. Do you see that? And I cut them off on an angle. And then you place them together like so. Isn't that sweet? And then I've got a piece of pasta and I'm going to put that in. I'm going to insert that in my hot dog on an angle as though it's Cupid's arrow going through the heart. And this is a lovely app. And if you're so inclined, you could take a bit of cheese and form a little arrowhead and an arrow tail there. I'm not going to do that. I don't have the time or the care. But you could serve. This is a lovely appetizer. And once again, it is hot dogs and spaghetti on Valentine's Day, lovey. It really is. Isn't that just wonderful? Now, I have one more thing I want to talk about, and that is sweethearts. What's Valentine's Day without sweethearts? Now, these little heart-shaped candies made of sugar have little printed messages on them, and they are a creation of the New England Confection Company, better known to you as Macko. And guess what, dearies? It's not around anymore. But the popular candy was invented in 1847, and the printed sayings that came on the candy didn't come around till 1866. Someone said, we could print something on those. We could. There, they printed the word Macko. But it wasn't until 1901 that they actually decided, you know what we'll do? We'll make them into little hearts, and this is how they do it. Fascinating, isn't it? And when I say fascinating, I mean boring, because there's nothing more boring than watching things made in a factory. I think there isn't it. Oh, wait, who's here? Oh, hello.
Happy Valentine's Day!
Valentine's Day! Oh, look, it's my best friends Dick and Jane from Fun with Dick and Jane. They're here.
Yeah. How are you, Valentine?
I'm wonderful. And what do you have in your hands there, darlings?
We made some Valentines for you.
Yeah, we did.
You're for me?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh, let's see. Oh, Dick, make me some little Valentines.
Yeah.
I'll share them with you. This is such a surprise, Dick. It says, you are pretty.
Ooh.
Oh, Dick, thank you.
It's because you are.
This one says, Victoria is nice. Oh, thank you. You're nice too. You're a nice Dick, you are. This one says, if only I were cool. You are cool.
Thank you.
This one says, can I call you Vicky? Well, you can call me Vicky, darling. You may.
Thank you, Vicky.
And then this one says, let's be nice.
Oh,
what
let's
a
be
good
nice
boy.
to everyone.
Let's definitely be nice.
Oh, wait. I have some Valentines for you, too.
You do,
Here you go,
Jane. I can't
There
believe
you go.
you've given me a gift.
I know. Boy, it smells like hot dogs in here.
It does.
Woo!
My
smell
fingers smell like hot dogs.
My
All right,
fingers.
this one says,
Yeah.
I'm a pretty girl, Mama.
I am.
Well, you are. This next one says, I have feet.
I do.
Oh, that's a thinker.
See? Look.
Okay. This one says, I'm no puppet.
I'm not.
Okay. All right. I never said that you did on today's show. This one says, I need screen time.
I need screen time.
Well, you have a lot of screen time, don't you?
Are you kidding me?
This one says, I want cash.
I want cash.
What would you do with cash, darling?
Buy things.
All right. And the final one says, I want my own show.
I want my own show.
If she gets a show, I get a show.
Oh, I
Jose.
feel like Ricky Ricardo now. I really do.
Okay.
Well, I have something for both of you.
Oh.
I have some sweethearts, one for you, and one for
Cutie
you.
pie.
A happy Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day.
Thank you, Vicky.
I hope your day is completely sacchariferous, or whatever that word was. All right, now we've talked an awful lot, haven't we, darlings? But now it's time to hear from you, because do you know what it is? It's time for the match game. It's the match game. It really is. It really and truly is. And I'm so glad you're all here for the match game. So how we play? Oh, the match game. We're playing for prizes here. Oh, we are. Now, besides from my little button that looks just like me that you could tack onto your blouse or your shirt or your coat, your hat, whatever you want to tack it onto. I also have some new items that are just in. This is the Jane magnet. And this is the Dick magnet. I had a lot of requests for a Dick magnet. Now we have one. And these are just the little flat magnets that go so nicely on your fridge or whatever metal object you'd like them on. You could have a Dick on it or you could have a Jane on it. But so that's what we have. I'm going to hold up a little clue, a little message of sorts. And there's going to be a blank. It's your job to fill in the blank and try to think what I'm going to say, darling. That's right. Figure out what I'm going to say. And then we'll take your answers and we'll see if anyone matches. How does that sound? Let me get my music ready. And here's the first clue. The first one is, for Valentine's Day, Dick sent Jane a dozen blank. For Valentine's Day, Dick sent Jane a dozen blank. I'm going to write down my answer. Oh, All right, let's have a look and see what you might have said. A dozen roses, a dozen roses, a dozen flowers, a dozen cards, a dozen eggs, a dozen compliments, a dozen hot dogs, a dozen eggs, a dozen eggs, a dozen apples. They come in dozens, of course they do. A dozen steaks, that's right, that's right. A dozen poems, a dozen spaghetti and hot dogs, a dozen insults, oh, a dozen heart-shaped hot dogs, that's right. A dozen monkeys, well, that's what I want for Valentine's Day, I hope I do. But I don't know that I wrote that down. All right, the music's gone out, so we'll just wait till I'm interrupted by the next music, which comes up at will. I have any control over it. I really don't. Oh, I have a dozen dresses. Stop it. Oh, well, a dozen texts. Yeah. Oh, that's a clever answer. I was not that clever, but we do have some matches on the show. I wrote a dozen eggs. If you said eggs, make sure you message me so I'll be sure to send you. I'll send you a Dick or the Jane. All right, enough with that. Let's have another one, shall we? Because I want to give these out. I don't have these magnets here for me. I have them for you, darling. Here's the next clue. The next clue is this: Dick likes the chocolates filled with cream. Jane likes the ones filled with blank. So that's Dick likes the chocolates filled with cream. Jane likes the ones filled with blank. Jane likes the ones filled with blank. The answers are rolling in already. She likes the ones filled with angst. She likes them filled with hot dogs. She likes them filled with love. She likes them filled with caramel, hot dogs. She likes them filled with dick. Ouch! She likes them filled with booze. She likes them filled with Betty's brown sauce. Crickets! Oh! Prosecco! Oh, that reminds me, I should drink some of it. It's delicious. I'm thinking of doing a whole show about spam. Raspberries. Yes. Pudding. Marshmallows. Oh, there's a lot of responses. Fudge. She likes the ones filled with fudge. She does. She likes them filled with cash. Yes. Yes, I should have written cash down, but I didn't. I wrote, and I don't know what I was thinking. Again, I think of the first thing that comes off the top of my head, and it was cream cheese. Cream cheese. I was thinking cheese, and I thought, well, cream cheese. I was off on a cream cheese tangent. There I was. All right, I have another one. No one won that round. We have time for another one. It's early. This is a short performance today I'm giving. All right, let's get this. This says Jane's card didn't say "Be my Valentine." It said, "Be my blank." Jane's card didn't say "Be my Valentine." It said, "Be my blank." I think I did something very obvious, I don't know. Be my boot. Christy, I'm not putting those online. This is a family mallet. Be my slave. Be my punching. Be my Valentine. Be my baby. Be my baby with this baby. Be my Galentine. Be my husband. Oh my goodness. Be my Galentine. Be my dick. All right, I guess be my enemy. Yes, be my master, be my servant. All right, the music. I think I saw Sugar Daddy come around. Did I see Sugar Daddy? Yes. Well, I did have an answer, and I did have a match. I said slave. So I think, Macko, we matched on that one. Oh dear. All right, I'm going to do one more because I have one more, and then we'll go. Let's see. Here we go. The next one is chocolate covered blank. Chocolate covered blank, and it's the jazzy music. It is. To take Hope's Sugar Daddy off there. Oh, now I can write down my answer. Chocolate covered. Something that I enjoy. Hot dogs, Oreos, cherries, Oreos, eggs, meat flowers. I told you it's something I enjoy, and who doesn't enjoy a good chocolate-covered meat flower every now and again, especially on a holiday? Strawberries, hot dogs, podge, and peanuts. I do enjoy chocolate-covered peanuts. Come to think of it, Barbara, I do. I enjoy them. Did I get everyone's in there? Did we see all the... We did. I think so. The music's just sort of stopped and... Oh. Whoa! What's this music? I don't think we've ever gone this long with the music. It's sort of trippy, isn't it? It's the age of Aquarius. All right, enough. I do have an answer, and I think I have a match or two, maybe. Let me look through this. I think I have one match. Yes. I wrote Oreos. Christy, we've matched today. We've had a whole bunch of matches today, and I'm so happy. After the show, I'll look through all your comments, and I'll read them, and I'll take them to heart, just as though they're a little Valentine from you to me. And then I'll get some Dicks and Janes out in the mail. I don't know how much the postage on a Dick is or a Jane, but I'll check that out. I will, and I'll get that off to you as soon as I can. Well, darling, we've reached the end of the show. We have. It went by very quickly today. It was so much fun. I'm so glad you're all here, and I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. I hope you all stay safe. I know we're getting some weather here, and if you're watching in the New England area, so stay safe, stay off the roads. Why not just stay home? You social distance yourself. If you have to go out there, wear a mask when you come back. Wash your hands. Use your little hand sand and rub till your hands are all sanitized. Be good. Be kind to each other. Be in love. It's a day for love, darling. It is. I'm going to see you coming up next month. We have a very special show next month. It is the 1-year anniversary of Let's Learn Stuff. So be on the lookout for that, and make sure you're following us on the Book of Face and on Instagram. I love you, darlings. I can't wait till our next show, and I'm talking so I can find the little eggs jingle, which for some reason I can't find. But I've found it. They'll teach me to drink the Prosecco before the show. I love you, darlings.
If you're stuck inside and you need some fun, she's the Grand Dame of Getting It Done. With Victoria Sautee.
Cheers, darling.